How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Schmoedown Central. I'm your host, Brad Thomas, breaking down the week that was in the movie trivia Schmoedown. Big week, of course. The finals will be determined here for the singles tournament. So we're going to wait and see who exactly advanced to the finals and who's going to get that second chance of potentially getting a number one contender spot. Of course, losers will, of course, get that opportunity. But it's all about who won these ones and who got to the finals. Big exciting matches. So let's get into what happened on Tuesday. So on Tuesday we had Dan Murrell taking on Erwin. Erwin coming in with the 4-1 record, 1 knockout, ranked number 8. And Dan Murrell coming in with the 8-3 record, 5 knockouts, ranked number 1. So round number 1, Dan was the first one to miss on question number 2, but managed to stay with Erwin for pretty much the entirety of the round up until that final question where he yet again missed again. Nearly the perfect round, only missing one question in round number 1, going 7 for 8 in that round, and Dan Murrell going 5 for 8, only down by 2 at the end of round number 1, not out of it by any stretch, but needed a solid round number 2. And in round number 2, up first, spinning the category of drama movies, and deciding to stick with that one, and a solid decision on his part, having to go to multiple choice on just 2 questions, but going perfect in the round, going 4 for 4, getting a possible 6 out of 8 points, to extend that lead to 8 points as Ethan now led 13-5 at the end of round 2. Dan Murrell needing to make up some ground in this round, but a very impressive round by Erwin, doing what he normally does in round number 2. And with Dan's spin, he gets the category of Spinner's Choice and deciding to take the category of Oscar movies. Not sure if it was the wisest decision though on Dan's part, as he only goes 3 for 4, getting a possible 5 out of 8 points, missing on that first question as well. Luckily there was no steal on the question, but managing to only get 5 out of 8 points as Ethan now led by a score of 13-10 after round number 2. The 3-point margin wasn't enough to hold Dan off. And in round number 3, Dan up first gets the category of romance movies, was hesitant on getting that category there, but managed to get that question correct and needed to hit his 3-pointer, then to send it back over to Ethan, which came in the category of westerns, and unfortunate for him, not able to come up with that correct answer. So this forced Dan to hit his 5-pointer, question number 3, coming in the category of directors, a decent category for Dan, but unfortunately a very tough question. Could not answer the question of the director of The Bourne Legacy, as Ethan wins it by a score of 13-12 via TKO, an impressive victory for Erwin, moving on to the finals. So with the victory, Ethan now improves to 5-1 with 2 knockouts, while Dan Murrell falling to 8-4 with 5 knockouts. Ethan going 11 for 12 for 92%, a very impressive score, only missing on 1 question in round number 1, while Dan Murrell, he went 9 for 15 for 60%, down 40% of course from his 100% game last time. We'll see if Dan can bounce back in his next match. So there you have it. Ethan, of course, advancing to the finals by a TKO victory over Dan Murrell. Probably wouldn't have seen the TKO come in. Maybe the win, of course, because Ethan is one of the best that we have in this league. Potential Rookie of the Year candidate, of course. If he gets that title, I'm pretty sure he might be a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year. We'll have to see. But, of course, Marc Andreyko has other words to say about that. Of course, being the champion, if she can defend that, she probably can remain Rookie of the Year. But in a very impressive victory for Ethan, of course. Dan unable to force it back to Ethan in that 3rd round, getting that victory. And now, of course, Ethan will play the winner of our next match. Dan will have a shot back to get to the spectacular and potentially play at the live event, of course, if he wins a couple more matches. And we'll play the loser of the next match between Andreyko and Clarke Wolfe. So we'll just have to wait and see exactly what goes down there. But big victory for Erwin. Of course, before the match, though, we saw Paulie G, attorney at law, talk with Thad Williams and basically saying you need to win this thing or all of this can come crumbling down. You won't really have it all. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot more development with him as well. I'll get to after the next match, of course. So what exactly is Paulie G's kind of motives? What is he? What horse does he have in the race? Maybe Christian, maybe Emma. Who knows? Maybe he's missed movies and he's the one coordinating it all. There's so much possibility in that aspect of it. But let's get into what happened on Friday. So on Friday, we had Clarke Wolfe taking on Marc Andreyko. Marc Andreyko coming in with the 6-3 record, 1 knockout, ranked number 4, while Clarke Wolfe coming in with the 7-5 record, ranked number 2. And in round number 1, it was a battle back and forth between Clarke and Marc, both going toe-to-toe, getting the same questions correct, getting the same questions incorrect, up until that final question where Marc Andreyko was able to take a 1-point lead over Clarke Wolfe and go up by a score of 6-5. A very close, tight-knit battle in round number 1. Who was going to become the frontrunner after round number 2. And in that second round, Marc spinning first and spins the category of Sandra Bullock movies, deciding to take that one. Of course, a strength of Clarke Wolfe's, getting it off the board and doing not too bad for himself, although giving up a 2-point steal to start off the round, but managed to pull it back together and go 3 for 4 for a possible 5 out of 8 points to still get a lead by a score of 11-7 midway through round 2. Marc Andreyko just needed to hope that Clarke Wolfe didn't get a big strength of hers. And for Clarke's spin, she spins the category of opponent's choice, and Marc Andreyko choosing the category of musicals, of course, now a strength of Marc Andreyko's, and doing not bad for herself here though, going 3 for 4, getting a possible 6 of 8 points, not having to give up any steals on that missed question on question 2, and doing quite well for herself to get now the lead back from Marc Andreyko, that 2-point steal coming into play big time in this round. And now Clarke led by a score of 13-11 after round number 2. And in round number 3, Marc Andreyko up first. Question number 1 coming in the category of comedy movies, and Marc Andreyko gets that one correct to tie it back up by a score of 13-13. Clarke Wolfe getting the category of new releases. Unfortunate for her, not able to come up with the correct answer there as it remains tied. Marc Andreyko, his second question, the 3-pointer, coming in the category of animated movies. Unable to get that question correct, again stay tied, as Clarke Wolfe now had a chance to take the lead on her second question with the category of action-adventure movies. An unfortunate play here for Clarke Wolfe, saying Reds 2 as opposed to Red 2, a slight mistake on the pronunciation there. Unfortunate for her, and unable to get that question correct as Marc Andreyko looked to take the lead on his 5-point question coming in the category of crime movies. And unfortunate for him here again, not able to get the correct answer. Both competitors not having the greatest luck in this round. So it's down to Clarke Wolfe. She would either go into sudden death overtime, or she would take the lead with question number 3, her 5-pointer, coming in the category of 2000s movies. And Clarke Wolfe hits the question to get the victory and wins it by a score of 18-13, moving on to the tournament finals and will play Ethan Erwin. So Clarke Wolfe improves her record to 8-5, while Marc Andreyko now falling to 6-4 with 1 knockout. Clarke Wolfe going 9 for 15 for 60% for questions she was actually asked. Of course, I'm not incorporating those steals in case you were wondering, but she did also have a 1-point steal. As for Marc Andreyko, going 10 for 15 for 67%, had one more question correct, but of course it really came down to that point value on question number 5. The 5-pointer was the swing point here, getting Clarke Wolfe that victory and advancing her in the tournament to the finals. If you do, of course, incorporate that steal, of course, they would have the exact same percentages, of course, because Marc Andreyko did have a chance to steal as well. So there we have it. Again, Clarke Wolfe advancing to the finals will take on Ethan Erwin in what's sure to be one of the matches of the year. This should be a very interesting one, a very exciting one. Clarke Wolfe, one of the best. Ethan Erwin, one of the best. These titans are going to come together. Only one will survive, and who will advance, that remains to be seen just yet. But of course, even if the loser will still have a chance at getting to a title shot down the road, of course, because they will be in a number one contender match at the Spectacular, and they will be playing, of course, the winner of Dan Murrell versus Marc Andreyko. That should be another great match, because Andreyko has upset many people in the past, as he mentioned in his post-game interview, so will there be another kind of upset? Although Dan Murrell, I think Dan Murrell and Marc Andreyko at this point are pretty evenly matched, and we'll have to wait and see exactly what does happen. 2 of the best in each match there, so that'll be, of course, a very exciting thing happening coming up next week. And then, of course, some other stuff behind the scenes. You have, before the match, you have Christian Harloff talking with Paulie G, and it seems like Paulie G's kind of rooting for Christian. He's like, I have a bit vested interest in this thing, so we'll have to see. Christian didn't seem like it, so one of my theories was that they were kind of working together. Doesn't seem the case, but again, who knows, maybe they're playing the part, but it didn't seem that way. And then you, of course, have a very fun conversation with Ethan Erwin and Jake Washington. Their budding friendship, managerial kind of worker, kind of just friendship that's kind of brewed here is very fun and interesting. 2 unlikely friendships here, or 2 people who are unlikely to be friends kind of thing, coming together and making for an entertaining duo there. And then, of course, also, you had Tom Dagnino talking with Paulie G and kind of rubbing it in his face, in Tom's face, that he kind of was the one responsible for breaking up the Lions Den. So there was that as well. Again, this kind of Commissioner Bowl is shaping up quite nicely. I think Emma Fyffe is that one on the outside looking in. Maybe she is the mastermind behind it all. Wouldn't that be a plot twist? Who knows? Although it doesn't seem that case. But anything can happen here in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. But let's get into what's going to go down next week on the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. So on December 11th, we have the Contender Qualifier, of course, and now we know who exactly that'll be. That'll, of course, be Dan Murrell taking on Marc Andreyko. As I just mentioned, that should be a very exciting one. Marc Andreyko has upset many big competitors in the past, and who knows, he might not even be the underdog at this point, because Andreyko is so strong as of late. He's had a great 2018. Dan Murrell, of course, coming off one of the rougher losses that he's had, of course, being TKO'd there, and he was looking for redemption, though. We'll have to see exactly what goes down here. It will be exciting. It will be interesting. Dan Murrell, regardless of his record as of late, one of the best we've ever seen, but Marc Andreyko has had, again, a great 2018. Who will come out on top in this match? Then on Friday, we, of course, have the singles final of the tournament here. Ethan Erwin taking on Clarke Wolfe. Will potential Rookie of the Year candidate Ethan Erwin be able to take the victory over Clarke Wolfe, or will Clarke Wolfe have another match at the Spectacular? Of course, she will already be defending those team titles, and again, she'll regardless, I guess, have that because she will be in the number 1 contender match if she does indeed lose this match. But will she be in 2 title matches? That remains to be seen. It will be interesting. It will be exciting. 2 of the best that we've had in the league. One of the new upcoming stars in Ethan Erwin, and one of the best we've had in Clarke Wolfe. It all goes down on Friday. As for our play of the week, that's going to be Clarke Wolfe's 5-pointer, of course, to get the victory. After having not a great round number 3, she manages to pull out the victory with that 5-point question number 3 in that round, and in a very impressive victory, getting her to the finals. Had she not done that, would have come down to sudden death, and who knows what could have went wrong or what could have happened there. So Clarke Wolfe able to get it in the regulation time in round number 3, the 5-pointer, big pull by Clarke Wolfe, getting her to the finals. As for our misplay, that's also going to be from Clarke Wolfe. In round number 3 here, question number 2, the 3-pointer, saying red 2 as opposed to red 2. A slight misplay there. Could have had the victory if she got that question correct, and then of course Marc Andreyko would have missed his 5. Wouldn't have had to answer her 5-point question, but an unfortunate one for her there. Luckily did get the victory in the end, but again, a big kind of misplay there. Adding an S onto one word can change everything. But our player of the week has got to be Ethan Erwin, going 11 for 12 for 92% and TKOing one of the best we've ever seen in Dan Murrell. A very impressive victory for Ethan Erwin, getting himself to the finals. Will take on Clarke Wolfe now, and him and Jay Washington working well together, it seems, and it's paying off as he gets himself to the finals and will have a shot potentially for the belt at the Spectacular. We'll have a match there regardless, either in the number 1 contender match, but Ethan Erwin, a very impressive victory, doing quite well for himself, going perfect in round number 2, yet again, not quite on the point totals, going 6 for 8 in that round, but again, impressive victory for Ethan Erwin. That's why he's our player of the week. So that does it for this episode of Schmoedown Central. Be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe for videos each week. Love hearing all those thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know all your thoughts on the play, misplay, player of the week, what your predictions are for next week. 2 big matches coming up, so I love hearing that. Keep the conversation going. And of course, you can also follow me on Twitter at 94BradThomas or at Schmoedown Central to keep up to date in the world of Schmoedown Central. Love hearing all of that stuff. Getting some good feedback as of late. A couple of the competitors, like Ben Bateman, tweeting out at me last week. If you're still watching this, thank you again for that. It just means a lot to me. So, of course, keep that conversation going. Subscribe and follow me there. And I will talk to you all next week on Schmoedown Central.